welcome to Slaughterhouse Talks. I'm Porkchop,
And I'm Dr. Graves.
and today we're talking about Day of the Dead, directed by George A. Romero and released in 1985.
Alright, it's, this one, it's, I feel like it's the black sheep
Of the big three?
of the big three. Like, there's haters and there's lovers. Dawn of the Dead, everyone's, Dawn of the Dead. But today, what do you think about it?
I love Day. I prefer Day over Dawn.
Ooh!
Yeah, I'm a Day fan. I just feel like the reason this one didn't pop off so well is because Dawn was so successful. People wanted another Dawn movie, like another Dawn of the Dead, and it's just like, what's the point doing the same thing twice?
Right.
And it wasn't distributed properly because people really wanted the anticipation of another Dawn.
Right, and that's what makes it, like, I'd say the black sheep, because it really is divisive about it, like... People, if you've seen Day of the Dead, like what you've seen about it, the moments you remember, like you're like, yes, this is this movie. I don't hate it. I'm just in the realm where I'm just like, when we'll get to it, where the reasons why I don't like about it. I don't hate it though. I won't say I want to stop using the word hate, or I'll say it just like out of the three, it's the weaker for me.
Okay, that's fair. Do you want to get in characters real quick?
Absolutely.
We've got Laurie Cardell, who her dad was the news anchor in the first movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She plays Sarah. Joe Pilato had a scene in Dawn of the Dead, and he plays Rhodes.
Yeah, he's the guy.
If you know Rhodes, he's big, overacting, and I love it. Anthony DeLeo, Miguel. Anthony DeLeo is one of George Romero's best friends. They went to school together, so he just needed him for this movie.
Oh.
Terry Alexander played John. Gary Carl played Steel, Big Steel.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Greg Nicotero did special makeup effects, and he played Johnson, one of the soldiers.
I really love the makeup in this movie.
I do like it. Tom Savini says this is the strongest he's done in a while.
I agree. I think there's a lot more in it. Dawn of the Dead's effects it's the 70s, 78.
Yeah.
So, you get what you get and it's expected. It's beautiful. It's really good.
They got a little bit of money behind them.
So much red, but like when we get to Day, oh my God, it's so good. It's realistic.
Yeah. We got John Amples, who plays Dr. Fisher.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got Tasso again, does special makeup effects, and he plays Torres in this one.
Oh, is that him?
Yeah.
Huh.
Sherman Howard plays Bub, my favorite zombie.
Heck yeah.
Bub. Richard Liberty, who was in The Crazies, plays Dr. Logan.
Fuck yeah, he's my favorite character.
Jarlath Conroy plays McDermott, who's the Irish radio. He does stage stuff nowadays still.
He's really good.
Tom Savini, again, did special makeup effects, and then Ralph Morero did Rickles. He played Rickles.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh, okay.
And those are a big cast. I think most of them, like Johnson, like Greg Nicotero, they don't really show up that much. They're there just to be a kill count.
No, we're here for Steel and Rhodes.
Yeah, like the big main.
Sarah.
So let's start this. We open with a dream. Well, we learn it's a dream in a minute. That Sarah's just, looking at a calendar on the wall. This is
white room.
Yeah, this is supposed to take place Halloween.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, like this day is supposed to Halloween, and then zombie hands come out of the wall and grab her.
It's so good because you don't even suspect it. Too. No. There's no because in some films you can see like kind of the effects where like the squib's gonna go off or something.
Yeah.
This
one just looks like a wall.
It looks like a wall. It is so well, and then the hands actually burst through where they're supposed to go, and it looks so real, like they're going through the rock. It's so good.
It looks real good. She wakes up in a helicopter, another helicopter in this movie, and they're flying over what is presumably New Orleans.
Okay.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Because we see the Everglades and stuff like that. The zombies all slowly start coming out when they land, because they need to look for survivors or just, someone else.
Just any life. And
we get a bit with McDermott and John on the radio saying, like, if you want to bring us to safety, we can bring you to safety. And
there's such a cool shot, because it reminds me of 28 Days Later, which is like the desolation at first, where it's just nothing.
There's nothing.
Just the wind, and then the ghouls appear.
Yeah. And
Are we
John,
calling them ghouls or in this one?
they're zombies.
These are now zombies now.
Or as Steele would call them, dead fucks.
Dead fucks.
But yeah, the zombies slowly appear, and Sarah and Miguel are just staring in the middle of like a busy street with nothing, and then they slowly start just coming towards. And Miguel just books it back to the helicopter.
Like, I don't know. And there's that beautiful shot where it's like like the cobblestone almost, or like the road, and then like there's like some papers, and you see this beautiful shot of like a newspaper, like, and it says like the dead walk, and it's like, oh shit, and then like a shadow appears, and
we get to see Dr. Jaw,
which for the longest time I thought was a person in makeup, but what is it?
It's a puppet.
It's an actual fucking puppet.
It's based. They molded Tom Savini's, I'd say, head cast in his body.
Oh, that's him?
Yeah, and they were doing some effects when they wanted to rip skin off, like in certain places. Tom Savini got the drill tool deep and ripped the jaw off.
Oh.
So it was just an accident, and they just kept it.
It looks good.
It looks really good, but you only get to see him once, and that's it.
And it's like an upper torso shot with like where you can't see the puppeteers, and it's so good. The eyes in the thing moves as well.
Yeah, they're radio-controlled eyes.
Oh, that's cool.
So after that, there's nothing there, so they fly back to the military base, which we find out is an underground bunker.
And it's a government facility?
Yeah, it's a government facility where, you know, they've just stored everything like cheese, water, movies, just everything in that bunker.
I will say the opening shot in the New Orleans reminds me of Left 4 Dead 2.
Yeah, it does. It's very just reminiscent. So when we land, we see another grave has been dug. And it's who is this? And Sergeant Cooper, I guess, who was main lead, was buried this morning, and that's why all the zombies around the perimeter are more active, because there's fresh meat.
Succumb to something. I like this. There's a whole like thing like we'll get the whole notion like there's the fenced off in the background, and they just keep coming, and there's such a wall of them coming, and
more and more every day.
Like they want to lock it off, and everyone's like, no, we should do it now. And it's like, no, wait till nightfall, there'll be less of them. Sarah's like really pushing it.
Yeah, Sarah was like, wait till nightfall to fill up the helicopter.
Yep.
And John and everyone else is just like, why don't we just fill up now? Because it's not safe to leave it empty. And she's like, it excites them too much, let's just go.
Yeah, because you're already out in the open. Miguel
is that character. He's just broken for this movie because he's the only one that seems like it's the end of the world. Everyone else around him seems to just be going like, it's a regular day. So Miguel shows like the truth side of just like the anxiety of what's happened at the end of the world.
I don't
like Miguel. It's okay. No one likes Miguel.
It's like, because again, it's like I understand like the pressures and stuff, and that's what we'll get to with Rhodes. Most of these characters, I can understand. Pressures are high and everything is like really like it's bad, and Miguel is just not really helping. He's just a whiny.
Yeah, he's whiny.
Like really whiny, pathetic, and I understand like they're in the relationship, Sarah and them, and it's like I don't know. It's just like wow, his character is just too much.
Well, he's very real, I would say.
Yeah,
because it's just like some people react differently to the end of the world. We get under the bunker.
It's like an elevator pad.
Yeah, it's an elevator pad. They just lock it off, and one of the soldiers asked John, "Is like so nothing, right?" And he was like, "You got that right, man." And Sarah and Miguel and all the group go to another section of the bunker, and Steele and Rickles roll up on these little golf cart things, and they were like, "Well, what happened? You know, how far did you go?" And they went 100 miles each way.
Oh wow!
So up and down the Everglades. And Steele asks, like, says we need more specimens. And it's like, well, what is Logan doing to him? Just chopping them up? It's like, come on, we need to grab him. And so Steele's like, come on, Miguel, we gotta do this. And Sarah stops him. It's just like, he's too weak, he can't do it. And he's like, I can do it. So Miguel hops on. And Steele is sexist, and so he's like, I don't really want a woman here, basically.
Right.
But John and McDermott just walk away into their own separate place because they don't really help in this movie. But they have assigned jobs, so they feel like they don't need to do any more else than they're assigned.
His job is to fly the whirlybird, and he's doing that just fine.
So Sarah's just like, fuck it, I'll go with you then. And we get an interesting situation where we're now experimenting on the dead in this movie,
Mm-hmm.
where we have to find the cause.
Wait,
of
why is the dead returning?
Why did it stop?
Because let's go through this. Night, it was because they went up to space and there was radiation.
Yeah.
Dawn is basically the continuation of that.
Yeah.
And now Day is kind of erasing that chunk of that fact, but keeping the dead arising. But now we have to explain it because we gotta save our asses because we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah. So how they get the zombies is that there's a mine shaft at the end of this bunker,
Huge,
and that's open, so zombies can just come in.
Oh yeah, because there's a huge ladder at the end of it. They can get through.
No, like the caverns are just open.
Okay.
So the zombies will just come in and out and find spots and just crawl in.
Mm.
So Steel gets their attention. Screaming. Do you want to do a scream? I can't do a scream.
I can't do
He's
it.
so good at it. And basically, when the zombies appear, they have to hook the zombies,
right,
and bring them into this middle chamber, and then move them out.
So then they can.
They can release them. But Miguel is just so out of it that he drops the pole, and he almost gets Rickles killed.
And Sarah insists that she picks it up. Yeah, Steel is such a fucking asshole. He's like, no, because it's a man's job. It's like, well, if you had Sarah, it wouldn't happen.
Sarah wouldn't have dropped the pole.
Exactly.
So Rickles almost gets killed. Steel retaliates and almost kills Miguel.
Right.
And this is how awesome Sarah is. I love Sarah.
Oh, she's so cool.
She picks up a machine gun and says, I'm gonna fucking rip you in half.
Fucking cocks it.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna rip you in half if you don't put him down. And Steel thinks about it, and she cocks it, and he's like, okay.
Because his penis is shrinking, because he's not a man anymore. He just tosses Miguel just to have a little bit of manhood.
After all that fun, Steel and Rickles lock up the zombies in a separate little area, and Sarah tries to give Miguel a sedative because it's like, you're acting erratically. You almost killed a man.
Right.
We need you to just calm down, dude.
And he's tossing the needles.
Yeah, and he slaps her.
Pretty hard.
Twice.
Yeah.
And then he has a breakdown, and Sarah just stabs him in the back with the sedative. And he's like, you bitch. And he slowly calms down. So we introduced to Fisher, Dr. Fisher.
Yeah, he's got Starship, man.
Yeah, Starship, big glasses like mine.
Yeah.
And he's talking to Rhodes and Steel. So Fisher needs more supplies. And, and it's also just like, when did this become a military operation? And we learned that Rhodes is taking over because Cooper is dead.
And Rhodes' idea of control is not...
It's not great, because it's like, you better show me results. And Fisher's like, how can we show you results without the proper, equipment?
You better show me results and respect, even though I won't show you.
Sarah comes in. And I love this whole entire theme with the back and forth, Sarah and Rhodes. Rhodes is just evil, sexist, or everything. He's everything under the sun. And basically, Sarah's just like, maybe we should start working together. And it's just like, yeah, right, okay, we'll start working together. And Sarah tells Rhodes that, I put Miguel under. And Rhodes has a freak out. It's like, you need to stop drugging up my men. And halfway through that, it's like, oh yeah, we have a meeting tonight at 7 p.m. sharp. And I love that Sarah walks away, and she's just like, yes, sir. Fuck you, sir. Just double flips him the bird. And it's just like, wow, Sarah's so fucking cool.
It's best.
So, just a quick little mingle. Fisher's just like, you should watch yourself, just in case, There's a lot of men here, you're the only woman, just watch yourself.
Yeah.
And then we get introduced to Dr. Logan.
Hell yeah.
Your favorite character.
He's so cool.
Or everyone else calls him Frankenstein because of the stuff he's doing.
He's so cool. And we get a showroom of little special effects. It's just a big showroom.
Yeah, it's just like, wow, look at all these props and stuff.
It's really good. There's when we pan through, we get to see that there's either some stuff still alive or stuff that is dead, and it's cut in half, cut through the middle. It's getting ripped off. It's really good effects.
So Sarah's trying to find the cause. Dr. Logan is trying to figure out how to control the zombies as a populace.
Just accepting the fact that they're here now.
Yeah, they're here now, so let's just try and control them. Right. And teach them behavior like we we're taught as good little girls and boys. And so his idea is like control them with like, you know,
Rewards.
simple lessons, rewards, which is we'll learn later is a certain type of meat.
Because the thing is, in his mind, let's say, because the brain is rotting here, there's some part that he can control.
Yeah, there's still motor function
Yeah, because we see this corpse that he's taken the heart out
and no stomach.
And like he still has the brain and everything, and he's putting his hand in front of it, and it still wants to eat him. And
yeah,
it's
it
like,
still wants to eat him, but even though he can't digest it and get nourishment from
Doesn't
it,
matter.
it's just stuck in like motor function.
which I think is like a scarier factor to the Romero zombies, because like these things, although they're not invincible, they're just like there's just nothing else now. There's just like
So Sarah's looking around and then she sees Sergeant Cooper's jacket.
yeah.
And we thought it was a zombie laying on a table with just the head.
So you said
It's just
Sergeant Cooper, and I'm rewatching Twin Peaks right now, and I'm imagining
Oh.
Dale Cooper
No, not for Twin
getting
Peaks,
killed,
no.
and it's like, well, you know.
But we have a specimen on the table with a nice body and just a brain.
Oh, it's because like the face has been taken,
Yeah.
everything's been so
That
good.
special effect is, as Tom Savini called, moose clit. That's all I gotta say. But Sarah finds out that the specimen Logan is now working on is Sergeant Cooper.
Right.
He just buried one of the other dead specimens because he's doing more research. I don't know.
Needs a fresher body.
I guess. And Sarah's just like, if you get caught, we're fucked. He's like, we'll never get caught. No. So we get a real cool scene where Sarah turns around and there's this zombie unhooks his wrist
Yes.
and moves to the side, and all of his guts and intestines just on the floor.
So cool.
And Logan goes over with a little brain drill and just kills it. And we get a small intro to Bub, who we find out to be Bub, but he's in the back just like, just shaking. So after that kill, we get we go to like 7 o'clock. The big meeting.
Right.
So we got the military group discussing back and forth.
Frankenstein isn't there.
Not now. Not right now. He'll show up.
Yeah.
But McDermott is explaining to all of them, like, I cannot get a radio transmission out because all of these are rotted.
The World War II radios.
Yeah, radios from World War II. And Steele's just like, well, it's your job to fix them. It's like, how can I fix them when they're all rotted?
Right.
And, just the science team, like, we don't have proper tools, don't have this, don't have that. And Rhodes is just like, so you don't have the shit you need? I need results. Like, you need to start showing me results or your friends are going little by little.
It's a big threat.
It's a big threat. And so through that, Sarah's just like, I'm done with this kindergarten.
Yeah.
And it's like, are we done here? And Rhodes says, no, we're not done. And she tries to leave, and it's like, if you don't sit down, I will shoot you.
That's the kind of person.
I will shoot you, but he gets Steele to do it.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to take that accountability.
No. So Sarah doesn't sit down for a little bit, and Steele's about to shoot her, and John stands up and is like, sit down and shut up. And so there's a little standoff.
Yeah.
It calms down a little bit, and then Logan appears.
He just bursts through.
He just bursts in, and it's just like, Rhodes is like, you were supposed to be here at 7. It's like, I couldn't get a break away from my work.
I'm busy.
I got things to do.
Is there any food?
It's like, here's some food for you. I got some food for you. You're gonna be rotting down here in this fucking sewer if you don't show me results. I'm gonna blast these specimens all away. And Logan's just like, yeah, you can blast away my specimens, but what about the other million outside, What are you gonna do about them? Are you gonna blow the piss out of all of them?
There's only so many of us, and like, there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, and there's only us.
Yeah.
And
it's like, as far as they're concerned, like, there's some mindset that there might be survival out there, but everyone else, like, no.
There's nothing. Else. Like, Johnson was like, we could radio to Washington all the time. It's like, yeah, but we were on relay servers back then. Now they're not answering anything.
So that proves
that there's nothing else out there.
Yeah.
After all that, Sarah and everyone just gets out.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, talks to John and McDermott. McDermott doesn't really say much in this movie.
He likes to drink.
He likes to drink, but he just talks to John. It's like, maybe we should stop pulling in other directions and actually help each other.
Yeah.
And John's classic line is, well, that's the problem with the world. Everyone has different opinions.
Which
is basically it. Like, everyone's not doing everything together because we can't.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
It's
so
some weird mindset.
it just fades and Sarah's asleep and she has another nightmare. And Miguel wakes up and his stomach falls out.
Has a really cool effect
It's
too.
the same effect as the zombie. It's really cool. Fun fact, the actor who plays Miguel is a vegetarian.
Ah,
So
cool.
he said it was very interesting to feel legit guts against me. Because Tom Savini effects, you can't get better than the real thing.
Right.
So he was just like, yeah, it was cold and slimy, but that was an interesting shoot. Being a vegetarian. She snaps out of the nightmare, and Miguel is just basically, you are
her.
scared. Yeah, it's basically like, you are scared. You're just full of shit. You are scared. And
she can't handle that.
No, and she's just like, fine, you know what? Get out.
And he has a little tantrum and like takes his shit and it's like, well, good. I don't want to see you.
So Sarah's awake now. She got woken up by that.
Take your little pills.
So she goes to get, like, I guess an ibuprofen. And walking down the hallway, all the soldiers just have rough housing, and she gets caught in the middle of it.
Which is not good for her.
McDermott just books it and grabs her and just like, I got you, you okay? And it's just like, do you want a drink?
It's brandy.
It's brandy. It's good for the heart. It's like, it's shit for the heart. Eat your liver. And then she takes a big sip of it, and then we're going to go see John, and we're introduced. I think they're a thing.
I really, the first time I watched it, I just instantly was like, yeah, they're a thing.
I think it's very cute. They live
in heaven.
Basically near where the mine shaft is.
Right in the back area behind some trucks. Area,
because they're not in the main area where all the military is, because I feel like it's a little dangerous out here, but it's safer being inside than the military. It's safe being outside than inside.
Yeah.
And they live in this little camper van called the Ritz.
Yeah, and it's got this huge back area they've walled off.
So John's back there, and just, reading files and everything that they've got back here. And
it's basically going through the whole like theology about like who's gonna give a shit, like why are you actually doing what you're doing, why are you keeping these records? And Sarah's insisting that what she's doing is
the only thing that's left.
Yeah, it's her job. Like,
shame on you.
Yeah, and it's like what we've got. And John makes some good reasoning. He's like, well, we could just take the helicopter, we could just start a new life.
We can just reproduce and start a new life.
Which is a questionable thing. Like, you have to agree to that. But like,
I mean, if you want to start new, you have to reproduce.
Yeah, and it's like, I can understand there's some beautiful acting, and the camera slowly crawls in, so you get this whole like idea.
A beautiful monologue.
And he kind of states like, I think I know why the dead are here, and it's like maybe because we were doing all this stuff, and God was like,
you're getting too big for your britches,
and like maybe he just got tired of us figuring his shit out.
Yeah, and so it's just like maybe this is just showing us what hell is like as well.
Yeah.
After all the drinking and stuff, next day Sarah is basically hungover.
Woo.
She's doing blood sample tests on the oxygenator rotator. Can't remember the name of it.
No, to rotate, and she can't really focus on that.
So she goes outside, grabs another aspirin, and she is banging in chaos. She's like, uh-oh. And she goes into Fisher, trying to socialize with a zombie.
With some food.
With some beef treats that smell like garbage and don't taste that great.
Which the military gives as food to humans.
After like a little conversation, Logan pops his head in. He's like, I have something to show you.
Come here.
Come.
And he's so excited about this new one.
To see it. And so we get introduced to my favorite boy, Bub.
It's so
I
good.
love Bub. Logan, it's he's been doing so well to my tests. I let him live. I'm like, oh, okay.
He's just the best one.
So he goes and gives him a book, which is Salem's Lot. He gives him a razor, and then he goes back to the testing area and is like, watch what? So Bub like interacts with the book, trying to figure it out, and he just throws it to the side, and Logan says, I knew he'd do that. But then Bub grabs the razor and starts like acting like he's cutting, like raising, and Simmy can't feel it. He's peeling his skin, like those little peelies, and he's like, oh no. And Logan goes in to take notes, and Rhodes and Steele appear.
And they're like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, Rhodes is like, what are you doing? And he's about to shoot Bub, and Logan's like, no, it's alright, he's fine, he's tied up, it's just,
I want to show you this, we're socializing, and it's like, well, oh, Sarah, you got a gun. Take the bullets out.
Take the bullets out and hand me your gun.
And he does, and he takes the thing out and then puts it on the table, and Bob's like, okay, new toy, huh? And he
he salutes Rhodes first
because he sees he's the military.
Yeah, Bub used to be in the military, I guess.
And Rhodes says some shit to Bob, and Bob's hearing this, and he gets the gun, and he figures out how to cock it.
Yeah, he cocks it, click, there's no ammo, obviously.
He doesn't know that, and he points the gun at Rhodes, and he
pulls the trigger.
But
there's no ammo, so he just goes click.
But it's the fact that he would have killed him.
Yeah. We get a cut to Rhodes slamming a gun on the table saying, what the fuck is wrong with you people? They're dead. What are you gonna do? Teach them tricks? And it's just like... why can't we just eliminate all of them? I said, because we need to find the source.
Yeah. So there's so many of them, like, why can't we just control them?
Logan has a weird scene where he's walking back and forth on the roads, like, we need to teach him civil behavior. If there's no civil behavior, there's no need for it at all.
Well, Frankenstein's crazy.
He's a little kooky. And it's just like, we need to give him a reward. There's no need for violence, we need to give him the rewards. And... so we got back after all that fun to, I guess Logan needs more freaking specimens.
Yeah.
So, Steel hands Miguel the pole.
Yeah.
And he's like, you got it? And Miguel's like, mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then halfway through it, he fucks up and drops it again. And we get 2 kills.
Yep.
We get John, not the helicopter, but there's another military character called John. His name is Johnson.
Okay.
So we get John, who gets his neck bit. Not the helicopter John. And then while he gets his neck bit, he shoots Johnson. And then he's bleeding out. Miguel gets his arm bit, and he runs into the darkness freaking out.
Sarah has to follow.
Sarah has to follow him. Steel shoots the guy who got his neck bit because he doesn't want to become one of them, so he kills him. We cut to Miguel running to where John and McDermott are.
Going to the Ritz.
Yeah, going to the Ritz with his arm bit, and he gets about to get there, and Sarah grabs a rock and knocks him out. And I like this effect because she grabs the Tom Savini machete with the hole cut out of it, so it looks like it's going in. Cuts his arm off and then cauterizes it.
It's a really tense and really good scene.
And the music is really good.
And now that all this action has happened, like everyone's been alerted, Rhodes and Steel, and everyone shows up, and Sarah's insisting that like, hey, like he's bitten. I stopped the infection, and everyone's like, well, no, I've seen this has happened before. And then she's like, well, if he gets infected, I'll kill him. And it's like, good point, fine. And then he's like, well, Rhodes is just like, how about this? If I see you in here, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah. If I see you in here, you're not getting anything from my men anymore.
Yeah.
And you can just stay out here and rot.
So it's like, fine. And they go to the Ritz, and the military stays in, and they have to take care of Miguel, and also that they have to go fucking back to the laboratory to get supplies.
Yeah, they need supplies. So they go to Logan's lab, his little lab, and McDermott's just looking around, and he hits a tape recorder, and it's just, I don't know how to explain it. Logan's talking to himself, but he's like, I'm sorry, mother, like, I put it away, mother, and he's taking his anger out on Johnson. Yeah, that's why we get a Greg Nicotero head hooked in with the wires, which is an awesome effect. I love the way it looks because it's just Greg Nicotero's head just wired up.
It's my favorite looking one.
Sarah wants to kill it, and she's like, "No, just it'll alert the men." So they get out of there, and they see Logan going to where Bub is with a bucket
full of something.
And McDermott and Sarah are watching him like, good job, Bub. And McDermott's like, what is that? As Bub's eating some sort of meat. And Sarah's just like, oh god, no. And Rhodes is there. Rhodes and Steel, I think, are there. And Logan, he grabs Logan and says, what are you feeding him? And Logan shows what he's feeding him, and we go to a freezer, and it's filled with military men.
Yeah, he's feeding them the corpses of the guys that just got killed.
Rhodes kills Logan. Rest in peace.
It's pretty brutal, too. He just, like, unloads a whole clip of a machine gun onto Logan.
Yeah, and then Rhodes is like, take all their guns.
He snapped.
He takes all their guns, just throws them on the floor. And then it's really just military takeover time. They grab Fisher, Sarah, and they go to where John and McDermott are,
Mm-hmm.
and he's trying to get John to be like, "Hey, we're flying out of here." And she's like, "Well, all of us can't fit," and Rhodes is like, "All of us aren't going. It's just gonna be me and our men and you." And he's like, "You're not gonna make me do this." And Rhodes shoots Fisher in the head.
Yeah,
which is like a quick
it's
revolver kill.
It's pretty abrupt too.
And Steele pushes McDermott and Sarah in the holding area where the zombies are, leading to the mine.
And while this is happening, there's left free time for Miguel to get up.
Yeah, Miguel gets up and walks. He goes to the elevator.
He's walking as far away from this action as possible. We'll cut back to him. And his plan is to get to the elevator for some reason.
Yeah, so McDermott and Sarah escape from that holding area while Rhodes is trying to get John to fly.
Right.
And, John retaliates and he gets the shit beat out of him.
By Steele.
Steele's about to kill him and he's like, "Dude, no, we need him. Don't kill him.
Yeah,
we need a helicopter boy." And so, yeah, like you said, Miguel wakes up during this. We cut again to Miguel clicking the button to go up the elevator shaft out of the bunker. And we're like, "What's he doing? What are you doing up there, Miguel?"
Yeah, what the
And then we cut back to a little more discussion, and John hits Rhodes and hits Tasso, knocks out Tasso, and knocks out Rhodes. And during that, Steele and Rickles hear the alarm for the elevator.
And Miguel is just broke.
They're like, "Oh shit, what the hell's going on?" So they book it back to the original location, and we see that Miguel has opened the gates around the perimeter, flooding all the zombies.
And he fucked up the fuse to the elevator, so it's open. So
yeah,
it can't be closed once it's down or up.
Yeah.
And it's really good because, Rickles like, "Fix it, man." And Steve's like, "Fix what? Fix what?" And it's like, "Well, fix it. I can't fix this.
Oh, the fuse is gone and the wires are ripped.
It's like actually broken."
Yeah. I love the bickering in this movie because I just love arguments. And there's so many, like, that's one of the funniest scenes where he's just like, "Fix it." "Fix what? There's nothing to fix." And so we see
Rhodes gets over there after waking up, and it's like, "What the hell happened?"
John grabs his revolver.
Hell yeah, he did.
He grabbed both of his revolvers, so they don't have any guns now.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Rhodes and Tasso wake up, and they book it to the elevator, and they see it was slowly coming down, and it's just filled. Like, this is a big elevator, like, you could fit tanks on that.
Right.
And it's just filled with zombies.
And Rhodes
they're just like, "Oh my god." So Rhodes takes the golf cart and leaves them to walk.
Because he's a coward.
Yeah. And Steele's just like, "Rhodes! Rhodes, you bastard!"
And they all go for it. He'll leg it.
Rickles and Steele book it, like, somewhere. I think Tasso follows them. And they get back to the holding somewhat area where the zombies are. That's flooded because McDermott left it open. So we get Tasso's character gets killed. He gets his head popped off and his eye pops out because if you hear when he pulls his head off, the vocal cords extend, so his voice gets higher.
It's ridiculous.
Rickles gets his eye popped out and his head ripped off as well. So we get two heads. And then Steele is trying to survive. He's blasted away. We cut to Sarah and McDermott in the mine shaft.
And John is going through.
Yeah, John's looking for them, and McDermott's beating down zombies with a shovel. We get a zombie decapitation with the shovel, like jaw decapitation. And he beats the zombie and goes, like he's a big man. Cut back to Steele headshotting. Well, stomach shots, because he's just a bad shot.
And Rhodes has, because he got further ahead in the golf cart, he got into the main back area where we were with Logan originally. That's the main bag.
Yeah, he gets to the main bag to get M16 and some ammo and
survival.
Survival tools. See his silhouette of Bub.
And Bub's going to...
Steele. Bub sees Steele first. Yeah, Bub, before most of this happening, Bub sees Logan's body and cries.
Upset.
He actually cries. I'm like, oh my god. But then Bub sees the guns on the floor, grabs a pistol. Steele tries to shoot Bub, but Bub shoots and misses Steele. And as Bub is about to shoot Steele in the... as Steele is about to shoot Bub in the head, a zombie grabs Steele and bites him in the neck. And Steele gets, I think, 2 zombie kills off. and then Steele makes a sign of the cross and then kills himself.
Yeah, because he didn't want to come back.
He didn't want to come back. So then Bub's making his way to where Rhodes is.
Yeah.
John finally meets up with McDermott and Sarah, and it's just like, here's a gun. They get some shots off.
And they find out that where they were, they're near the back of a rocket silo that has a ladder that can get back up to the top.
Yeah, so they climb the ladder. John uses all the ammo left in one of his revolvers, but there's one bullet left, I think, and he leaves it.
Yeah.
But he gets 2 kills off on the two zombies. We get, where's that climbing up the ladder? It's just like, all right, we'll climb up this. Cut back to Rhodes and Bub.
Yep.
Rhodes, like, aims down his sight and try to get ammo in.
Yeah.
And he can't get the clip in, so he's like, get it! Oh, God! And he gets shot in the leg by Bub. Bub's a good shot. He shoots him in the leg, and he's just like, oh God!
And he shoots him in the back of the shoulder.
Shoots him in the shoulder, and then shoots him again in the leg.
Yeah.
And we get the funny scene when he's crawling against the wall, like, come on! And he gets to a final door, opens it, and it's all zombies. Turns around, and Bub shoots him right here in the liver. Little gut shot. And we get the awesome scene where
they all crowd around him.
Yeah, Rhodes is ripped apart.
Yeah.
And
it's
that scene, during that scene, the meat they had to use in that scene was rotten because someone unplugged the fridge where the meat was. So Rhodes, the character, Joe Pilato, had to be covered in rotten meat for like 4 or 5 hours while they were dressing it. And it was like, okay, this is a one-time thing. Just hold your breath while we open your stomach. And as soon as they opened his stomach, he was almost about to throw up. Like it all just hit him.
Blech.
And so his final words are, choke on him. Choke on him. We get a salute by Bub.
Hell yeah.
And Bub walks away. He lives. Yeah, that's the last we see of my boy.
We get a nice, like, my favorite bit of all these movies, feeding montage.
Yeah, we get a feeding montage.
Huge feeding montage, bits and pieces. And always, every one of the Romero zombies, every time, 2 of them always start fighting.
Mm-hmm.
They always start fighting over pieces, even though there's a lot of
And we get to
pieces.
see our first ever clown zombie.
Yes.
It's just, you see him somewhat walk, I'm like, well, there it is. There's the original.
Clown zombie. They finally get to the top of this thing.
Yeah, there's a large ladder. They get to the top. And Sarah's having trouble opening the gate. They finally open the gate. Then they're running to the helicopter, and then zombie hands grab Sarah's face.
And
it cuts, and now we're on a beach. John's fishing, McDermott's just chilling in the sand. And Sarah's just like, it's all over. She writes a new calendar for November, and all these events took place in 4 days.
Bullshit.
Then apparently that's what happened. But yeah, she ticks off November 4th. And that's it. That's Day of the Dead. A new life.
I think they die at the end.
I think they die at the end, and I think that's just quote-unquote heaven.
It's like a fake out.
Yeah, it's like a fake out, but...
Day of the Dead.
Yeah, that's Day of the Dead.
I gave it
I think you gave it a 6.
I gave it a 6 out of 10 because
it's not your favorite.
Unlike you, I don't like arguing, and this movie's full of bickering, and I don't think that's... I can't stand that, so it really made it kind of hard for me to watch some of those scenes.
I gave it a 9.8.
Okay.
Just because, number one, I know it's like biased, but I prefer this over Dawn. I love the over-the-top gore, the freaking over-the-top dialogue, and just there's some jokes in there, small, but this is a more serious movie than Dawn.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, when they were writing the script, it was like it's a much more darker film than Dawn.
I agree. The effects are way better. The music.
The music is bubbly.
I like the music a lot.
I like the soundtrack. I love Bub. That's why I gave it another rating, because I love that character. I think it feels too long for, again, what it is.
It feels more like 2 hours.
Yeah, but I think it's like 1:45.
It's an hour 45, and we watched the actual official cut of Dawn, and that's 3 hours almost.
That's almost 3 hours. But Day, I feel like they could have got rid of some stuff that we don't really need.
So we've now finished the Romero series, and I want to look back at all 3 of them, and then on top of that, I want to ask an official question at the end. But we looked at all 3. We started in 68.
Yes.
We go to 78, and we end in 85.
Yeah.
The other Romero films I'm not going to count, but please look
Survival
at
Land.
I recommend Land as like a good follow-up.
It's a 90s.
It's fun.
It's a 90s.
It's a good idea, but start at Night of the Living Dead,
Mhm.
1968. We're in black and white. All these films are political pieces.
Yeah, you can.
They're horror films with a message.
I would say Night and Dawn have a message. Day,
I think it has a message.
Day has a message where it's if you change military to corporate and then scientists to cameramen, look at it a point of view of George Romero. So when they were making this movie, there was a whole bunch of back and forth and just things not working.
And if you look at like the era '85, women's rights going into the workforce, men still trying to be the top dog and feeling that they're being subjugated by the new turnover of this new world order kind of ideals.
If you watch these movies, you can find the message whatever you find.
Yeah. So we start in '68.
So that was
black and white. The music's limited, but it's eerie. It's foggy, kind of a classic horror movie.
I would say Night of the Living Dead is a creepier, more traditional zombie movie.
It feels like a Universal film in a sense.
Yeah.
Like that era is telling of like almost the same time in that sense, where everyone's trying to be like, oh, this is the thing we're trying to say, but civil rights.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Even though it wasn't intentional, you watch it, that's all you could think about.
And the thing is, when you look at the ghouls in that one,
the official ghouls.
Look at the skin color.
They're all white.
Exactly.
They're all blue colors. They're all blue colored zombies. Like there's not a single.
It's not even a 50-50. I'd say it's like 85-10 almost. It's like most of the ghouls are, if not all, are white.
Mm-hmm.
Ben is the only representation, and he is the strongest representation of a great character.
Yeah, he is the strongest character.
Most of these characters have stereotypical. They almost seem like archetypes, like we get used to in these zombie films. Ben is it's very powerful and can hold his own in his own zombie film.
Yeah, he can. We go
Dawn of the Dead. We have the events of night spreading over into dawn. It's the same kind of timeline.
Dawn has changed from civil to consumerism.
We're now talking about us in more of the sense of like what we latch onto in memory and what we think is important to us.
That's what
Walmart is important to us, apparently. The mall is important to us.
If you change the zombies from flesh eating to just that,
mall culture.
That's how we've become. We are zombies.
And it's like, the thing is, like, it's not, you could sort out today, you replace the mall with, like, zombies in, like, an Amazon store.
Yeah.
Or something like that, a Walmart. They're all stuck there. Why they come back? Because
it's a memory. It's a thing you used to do.
We all come back to here. We all buy our shit.
Yeah.
Day of the Dead.
Yes. What is
we have now erased the idea of radiation. These are actual corpses coming back to life from some supernatural, otherworldly means that we do not know.
Bacterial.
We're now in the parasitic zombie.
Yeah, new zombie movies are all parasites and stuff.
I think it's telling a more the sense like which the two previous films trying to state about like survival, like who do you look up to, who would you put as a group, and who is the leader in that situation, almost like The Thing.
Yes. Who do you trust?
Who do you trust? And obviously there is a huge mishmash of trust. And like you look at it, we start off with so many people, and we don't really get most of the back military's like voices or opinions, but they seem to follow roads but question roads.
Yeah.
But we end up with 3 people who are the normal survivals and roads 1.
Yeah.
So,
if you watch these movies
back to back,
you can see 60, 70, 80, but what George Romero does so beautifully is that even though, like with the 60s, 68, you can see it's a civil rights movement. Again, not intentional. Dawn, never message. Day, never message. But if you watch those movies back to back, like we basically did,
right?
You can see the comparison to the year those come out. Again,
they make sense.
Dawn, not intentional. He just said a mall is a great location.
Right.
That's all that had. But the way he films stuff and the way he writes his dialogue,
right,
I think matches perfectly to the years those came out.
So we have,
and he does it again unintentional.
Exactly. He's not putting in his foremind when he's writing this. It just comes out.
Yeah. He says in many interviews, I write my dialogue on based on the location.
Which is probably
not on the events that have happened.
So when we look at those 3 you're like, oh wow, there's this continuation. There's a little gap in between Dawn, and there's a little spike comes out from Italy and has
Yeah, we
Zombie
watched
2.
Zombie, yes.
They don't fall in the Romero universe, but they somehow fall in the Romero universe as like the Marvel universe, like the What If.
Yeah, they'll slot something in.
What's it called? The multiverse. This is the multiverse of the Romero, and there is no message. There is no political thing. This is zombies. This is the out of all three. This is the zombie movie.
I feel like if you slot Zombie after Dawn,
yes, which you have to.
If you watch all those movies and put Zombie in, I consider Zombie just another event happening in the realm of when Dawn is happening.
Because when you look at it, you have the Middle America at 68.
Yeah.
You go to a little bit further because they know
you're in Pittsburgh and
it all takes place in Pittsburgh initially, but if you separate that ideals, like okay, so this can takes place in anywhere with a war.
Yeah.
Fine. Day of the Dead. Now we're in New Orleans.
Yeah, but we don't.
We don't specify that, but we know location. Zombie takes place in New York. This makes sense logically in the Americana.
Yeah.
We've been to like specific Americana places we know. New York is it's a given. We have to have New York someplace.
Yeah, even though it's not very prominent, it's shown at the beginning and end.
Right, we know that this is America.
Yeah.
This is an American event that will globally happen.
Yeah.
So because of these events, survival team, who would you have looking through all these films? Who would you have on a survival team?
How many do I get to choose?
You have all three films. Let's say
3 people.
Let's say you can get up to 4.
Okay, I'll bring 3. So if a zombie apocalypse breaks out,
yeah,
I want Sarah on my team.
Absolutely,
because she's strong. She knows how to handle a gun. She's a medic, so she knows how to somewhat help.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking Ben with me.
Right.
Because he knows how to make tools and survive bunker style.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to take Ken Foray with me.
Because he's intelligent and has resourcefulness.
Yeah. I'm going to take those big 3.
But it's like, that's what I would take too. I wanted to take Sarah instantly. I think she's so strong. Again, medic, knows what she's doing. There's a little bit of logic, but that's fine. Like, we all, and she knows out of all of us, if everyone gets stressed, she's the one who could fall back on to calm down the situation.
I might switch Bill for John because John knows how to fly a helicopter.
All right.
So at least I can get out.
So I'd have Sarah. I'd have Ben.
Yeah.
I'd have Peter, Ken Foray.
Yeah.
And then I think I'd have to have those 3 too. Out of all of the films, they're the strongest.
Yeah, we've got one strong female. Well, I can't remember her name. The second Dawn.
Oh, the wife in Dawn. I'd have her too because if I'm allowed 4, I'd have her because she can fly the helicopter.
She can fly the helicopter, so yeah, you could choose between John and her.
I'd have her.
Yeah. And that's your survival team.
And that's my survival team.
I like it. Well, I think we're done with George A. Romero's series. Highly recommend you watch and start from night. People who are probably not like, oh, it's black and white. It's black and white just because it's a budget issue. There were colored.
It looks amazing.
Yeah, there were colored movies in the 60s. It's just a budget issue. Don't let it distract you from the slow pacing.
Let that in fact help the movie to you because it makes it
darker.
Yeah, it makes it creepier.
Yeah. So watch these 3. You know what? Involve zombie as well.
For a gore fest, zombie, they're all gory, but
yeah,
zombie is the best one for that.
I would say watch these movies and see what messages you get from them and interpret it your own way. But I think while we're done with this little section, we can finally get back to the Halloween series. We're going to finish all 9 of those, hopefully before the new one comes out, but I don't think so because we've got 9 to go through.
Right.
But thank you again for listening.
Thank you, and keep watching horror movies.
And have a ghoulish day, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye-bye.
Bye.
the most frightening film ever made. Then, he took his unique vision of terror one step further. Now, George A. Romero takes us out of the night, beyond the dawn, and into the darkest day of horror the world has ever known. Day of the Dead.
There have to be survivors in Washington.
Oh, my.
They have more sophisticated shelters than this one. There have to be people in those shelters who know about us, who know where we are. With no radio contact, they'll come looking for us.
I said shut up! They can be tricked into being good little girls and boys. The same way we were tricked into it on the promise of some reward to come. What the fuck is wrong with you people? They're dead! They're fucking dead, and you want to teach them tricks?
They have to be rewarded, Captain. Why else will they do what we want them to do?
I don't want them to do anything but drop over! Those are my men in there! That's it. Run, you fucking lunatics.
George A. Romero's Day of the Dead, the most eagerly awaited day in horror film